Good evening everyone. Got to make a start on my game for Godot Wild Jam. I've not done anything at the minute apart from I've set up basically an empty project, so we'll be starting from the very beginning here. The theme for the jam is Ocean, and the wild cards Sound of Y'all, which means that you've got to make, if you can, make all the sound effects using your own voice. Fishy Business, which is a mini game, fishing in there, and then have some sort of pun in the favourite pun in the game as well. So I've got a game idea. So what I'll do, first of all, I'll talk you roughly through what the idea is before the start. So let's switch to a Sprite and I'll just draw out basically what I'm going to be doing. Right, so let's create a new scene, 1080p. So yeah, what I'm planning is to have a boat. It's all got to be set on one screen, but we'll have a boat. A little bit. Click along. So yeah, the plan is we'll have a boat here. It's going to be a fishing boat, and then underneath we'll have a couple of deck layers. And the idea will be this boat will keep having things going wrong with it. So down here we'll maybe have an engine. Attaches to the tower, and you'll have to fix this to keep the engine going. There'll maybe be a couple of leaks in the boat, which you'll also have to fix. There'll be up here in the wheelhouse. There'll be some form of navigation where you have to turn the wheel left or right to maybe avoid hazards or warnings that you get. And then maybe Jaw style, there'll be a bit of a ship here at the front where maybe a shark will come and attack. And you'll have to shoot it. So there'll be all these sort of various hazards and things going on, and any others I can think of as the game goes by. But all the time while keeping the ship going, the plan's going to be that you're doing some fishing. So you'll sort of stand here on the back of the boat with your fishing rod, and you'll be fishing. You'll get various little fish come swimming by, and the idea will be to collect as many fish to gain as much money as you can before your boat finally gives up the ghost and dies and sinks to the bottom of the ocean. So it's going to be quite a simple game. I may make it so you control two players, so maybe one you'll be fishing, the other guy you'll control will be running about fixing things. Or I may make it just with the one guy that does everything. I'll make that up as I go along. But that's basically, that doesn't look like a shark, but that's basically what the sort of game idea is going to be. There'll be lots of different fish, various sort of different sizes and values, so you'll sort of pick which ones you're going to get. So that is the basic game idea. So what we'll do, we shall make a start on getting this coded. I shall save this image just so that if anyone comes along later I can explain to them what it is that I'm doing. There we go, that's now saved for prosperity. Right, so first what we'll do, I'm going to quickly just make like a square for the player and a couple of other bits of assets, and then we'll get to implementing them into the game. So we'll start with a sprite sheet. So I'm planning on making it quite a low sort of pixel art game. So we're going for an overall resolution of 320 by 180. So we'll make a sprite sheet, tile map to begin with, tile sheet even. But for now I'll just add just one solid colour on, and we'll just, so I can use that as a solid block when I start making the level in Godot. Tile sheet. I'll just do a cube for the player for now to get that controlled on screen. I'll have a look through later and choose a palette as well for the game. So now we'll just make the player green. Right, that should be enough to get us started anyway. So we'll create a folder for the player. Have to get organised from the off. Get the assets copied over to those. Right, so those are both in there now. Let's re-import those. That should be fine. Set that as a default. And all future ones will come in like that. Right, so let's first of all make a scene for the level. make player, the kinematic probably 2D. Get that saved. That will need a collision shape. Make it a rectangle for now. And then we'll also need a sprite. But before I set anything else up, I'll get some of the project settings set up. So CPU pixel snap, display window we will set to 320 by 180, 128720 for the test height. I think that's everything that I need to set up for now. So we'll set up some input keys. So we're going to have a player move left, player move right. I think the player's going to be able to jump. Actually, player up, player down, because there's going to be ladders in this game, so they'll need an up and down for them to go up and down ladders. And a player action button. So I'm going to use WASD for these movement keys, because as I say, I may end up having a second player on screen for you to control, which if so I'll use the cursor keys for that. Right, so let's just drag that square that I've got for the player on there for now. Pixel slots on. Tile sheet, tile map, whatever to call it in this tile map. That is 16 by 16. Not a big fan of this tile map editor in Godot. Hoping the one that they put in version 4 is going to be a lot better. Cell size. For now we'll pretend that's the top of our boat. At least then I can just get working on the player's movement. I'll probably leave the ladder movement for another night because there'll be a little bit more thinking to get my head around that one. Let's add the player in. Doesn't really do it. Right, so that's some of our stuff set up. So let's add a script to the player. So we will add, get rid of all this lot, let's have some variables in to begin with. We're going to need run speed. That will win. No idea on values at the minute, so I'll just make them up. We're going to need a jump speed. That'll be negative. And we also need to add a value for the gravity. If we use the kinematic body, we'll have to add our own gravity. Gravity twice. Right, so in physics process, do first of all is get the input. So we'll create a function for that, and it keeps the physics process all nice and neat. Velocity as well. Also need bull to check for when we do the jumping, so we know whether we are jumping or not, so you can't jump while you're in mid-air. Will I need that? I'll just use is on floor. Yeah, probably won't need that. We'll leave that for now. So we need to get velocity, the x, from this. Velocity x, set it to 0 to begin with, and we'll get the right movement. Playing right. And we'll do the same thing for the left. I know there is a new way in 3.4 with Godot of getting both together, but I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, so I'll do it this way for now. That's the run speed if we're going right. Now if left. So if we're going right, it'll add the run speed. If we're going left, it'll take it away. If both are true, it'll end up cancelling each other out, so we don't move either direction. So that's set. We need to then slide. Into this we'll pass two values, the velocity, not that, and also the up vector. Capital V in it. Now let's see what we get with that. Got the left and right. I've got to add gravity on, so before the other, set velocity Y to plus equal gravity and we'll times delta. Right, so the player can move backwards and forwards and make that a little bit faster. Fiddle those values properly once we'll get the game created. Right, next we'll have the ability for the player to jump. So we'll add that into the getting the player input. Get the input for the jump. Where have I put left? Jump. So we need his action just pressed. As opposed to before where we had it is pressed, because that sort of constantly does it. Just press just means it just registers once. Play a jump. So we'll add it an if jump. Check if it is on floor. And what do we want to do then if they're on the floor? We want to set velocity Y to the jump speed that I set earlier. Right, let's see if that works. I think it should do. Yep. We've now got a lovely square that jumps. Probably make that gravity a little bit more snappy. And give that a slightly higher jump speed to compensate for that extra gravity. Hi Josh. What's this jam? It's the Godot Wild Jam. Just started making the game half an hour ago when I started the stream, so currently this is all I've done. I've got a start of a player controller. I'll talk you through what I'm actually making. Hey Captain Fubar, thanks for dropping by. Just about to go through what I'm actually making for people that have just joined the stream, so I'll switch screens and I'll show you my lovely little picture I drew at the beginning of the stream. Any ideas for the game yet? Yep, I've pretty much got a solid idea. I've only just started making it, but I've been sort of thinking over the idea all day. So let's swap screen. So, lovely artwork here. But basically, you're going to have a ship. Yeah, no, it's not my best work, Josh, is it this? But basically, you'll have a boat. You'll be a little person that's got to keep this boat going. You keep it going as long as you can. Godzilla. No, that's a shark. Can't you tell it's a shark? So you keep the boat going. There'll be various things go wrong. Just drew a few little ideas when I was explaining it. You'll have, say, the engine room, an engine that could break. Your little man will have to run down and fix that. There'll be things like leaks in the ship that you'll have to run down and sort of stop. Then maybe things like a shark attack, so you'll sort of run to the front of the boat and fire a gun or something at them, a harpoon or something to stop that. A shark, I thought it was a sheep wearing glasses. Yeah, I suppose it could be. There'll also be like the steering wheel here in the ship. You'll probably have to make adjustments to that to keep on course to where you're going. The sort of wild cards for the jam, which are things that you don't have to include, but you can. One of them's fishy business, which is include a fishing mini game. So the premise of the game is you keep the ship going as long as you can, and you're catching fish. So you'll go to this point on the ship, and you'll catch various fish that sort of go along the bottom of the screen. I've not decided yet whether it's going to just have the one person on the boat or two. Thought if you have one, you could just control the fishing guy with one set of keys, and then have another guy running around the boat fixing stuff with say the cursors. And so there's some ideas to flesh out, but that's the basic premise of the game. Keep your boat going as long as possible, catch as many fish as you can, and sort of earn as much money by catching the fish as you can to get a high score. So that is the basic idea of the game. The other two wild cards, one's to have a pun in the game, the other is to do all the sounds with your own voice. So I'm going to try and do all three wild cards as well. Should be quite fun. I'll have a stream probably where I'm just making silly noises and recording them, so that might keep people entertained for a bit. But tonight I'm just basically going to get this sort of player working. I'm not going to probably do the ladders tonight because I think that'll take a little bit of thinking about. Maybe I'll do that off screen. What's the third wild card? I've got half of it covered up there, so I'll just get itch up and I'll have a look. Anyone wanting to join the jam, that's the site for the jam. So yeah, the third one's it's treason then. Include your favourite quote or pun in the game. So I think the way I'm going to do that is probably just give the ship some punny nautical base name. Josh, you may sort of recognise this sort of game idea. I've nicked it a little bit. Voice versus music's a bit low. Right, let's just turn that up. See if that's any better. But yeah, Josh, you might notice I've sort of nicked this idea a little bit off Styx's game that he did for Game Jam 192. A ship happens that he did. The sort of premise of keeping a boat going. Obviously, I'm doing a platform pixel art version of it, so. Is the voice better there, Captain Fubar? Right then. Sure, music hasn't really started yet. Right, so we've got the player moving. Just try to think what I may do next. Right, let's have a look. So we've got that set up. I think what I might do is just throw in a player sprite that I've used in previous games, and then at least I can get sort of the animation plane set up, and I'll modify it in the future. So we'll add an animation player in. me just find a previous set of sprites. I'll probably just end up changing this. I tend to use very similar sprites for a lot of my Game Jam games. I just sort of change the clothing. Let's find something. Won't be a minute, I'm struggling to find where all my previous projects are saved. They seem to have disappeared. Are you teaming up with anybody? No, doing it all on my own. I've had a few bad experiences in the past when I've been in a team in jams. So I've not been in a team for a jam for many a year now. I think it's because the bad experiences I had, it was because I was in teams with people that I didn't know, which made it difficult because we had very different ideas. If I was ever to go in a team again, I'd make sure it was with people that I knew. Right, I found some characters now, so let's have a look. Tell a lie, I've not found any at all. They're too big because I'm wanting to do this game just with 16 pixel characters. Just need to find my 80s kid game that I did because the assets for that will be perfect. Probably drawn some characters by the time I find these. Kenny to the rescue if needed. Yeah, I could do, but if I don't find it in a minute, I will. Told you what. I'll use my Ghost Blaster ones. I know he's got a gun, but they won't be staying in the game anyway, so... Right, tell you what, I'll use Mr. Farty Pants from the other jam that I've been entered recently. So let's... So there we have Mr. Farty Pants, ready to go. I'll need to draw some more animations and stuff for fishing and things, but for now that'll do. Yeah, they're a bit too high detail for what I'm going for, but thanks, Captain Fubar. Right, so the player sprite, give it that new texture. Change the size. 4. Reduce that collision shape down a bit. Hey, I'm Mr. Farty Pants. Aren't we all? Now that's for a game. I don't know if you've seen it on my itch page, but just enter the Game Dev Knockout Jam. It's a 10-round jam. The first round was to create a player with a unique ability. You didn't have to make a game or anything, just basically a unique ability. So his unique ability was that he farts. I'll just get it up and show you in case you've not seen it. So yeah, this is Mr. Farty Pants. So I'm not sure what the next rounds of the jam will be. I'm presuming they'll be adding more gameplay to this mechanic, but if so, I've got an idea that these are like toxic, and any enemies that are above, when it hits them, it'll sort of stun them for a certain amount of time, but you'll only be able to use it sparingly, or the room you're in will get full of toxic gas and you'll die. So we'll see how that goes. It's my overlay capture moment, explosive glasses, yeah. Right, so let's get some animations. Call it run. So, frame 0. Frame 1, 2, 3. Set that to 0.3 in length to repeat. I've messed something up there. Let's try that again. What order have I done these sprites? Oh, I know what I've done. I use this for stream avatars, so it's currently got a sitting animation which I won't need, so I'll just remove that. just change the size of this. Small canvas size. So we'll get rid of 32 off the height. Only 2 sprites for a no, there's 4 for the run. I've just... Right, let's change that now to be vertical 3. Right, let's try again. That's better for now. Let's add a 1-frame jump animation in. We'll add a fall animation. By animation I mean 1 single frame again. Fine for pixel art, it's more than enough to get something basic going. Right, so next we will get the code added in for the animations. So I tend to like to extract these and keep them separate in their own separate little function. Often put them in their own script if I'm doing a more complicated game, but this has got not have that many animations, so I'll keep it all in the same script. So what we'll do, we'll create a new function at the end of this. And we'll call it player animations. And it'll take in the velocity of the player so we know which direction we're going and whether we're moving or not. We will take in is on floor. So I don't even need to pass these in because I'm keeping it in the same script. I'm just thinking normally I do it that way, but that's when it's in a separate script. So I'm still quite new to Godot. I've only been using it on and off for a short period of time, so I'm still sort of working out best ways to do things. Ollie boy, how are you doing? Thanks for dropping by. Must still be quite early in the morning over there. As soon as you've just joined, I'll just give you a quick overview of what the game's going to be. So this is what the game's going to be. Just gone 8 AM. Alright, it's just after 9 here. at night, so not going to be streaming massively long time tonight, but I wanted to make a start on this. So the idea is you're sailing a ship. It's going to be along the lines of your last jam game, where you're sort of managing various things, but instead of being point and click, it's a platformer. So you've got this ship that you've got to keep running. You'll run around, the engine might break and you'll have to run and fix that. You might get leaks, so you'll have to run and fix those. Steering, you might need to go change course to keep you on track. You might get attacked by this, which is a shark, although I've been told it looks more like a sheep and various other things. So if that sort of, you get a warning that's coming, you'll have to get up here so you can shoot it before it damages the boat. All the time then to get the wildcard theme in. Yeah, Godzilla, that were it. Gosh, forgot. I couldn't remember what you'd said. But then to get one of the wildcards in, you'll go to the back of the boat to fish, and you'll have various value fishes come on the bottom. And the idea is to keep the boat going and catch as many fish and make as much money as you can before your boat finally gives up and sinks. So that is the basic premise of the game. You may control 1 or 2 people, I've not decided yet. Godzilla, sheep, tomato, yeah, they're all the same. They've got to damage your boat, whatever. So that's the idea for the game. So at the minute, all I've got working is, it was a square box that just moved left and right and jumped. And currently I've just brought this sprite sheet in from a previous game that I've done just as a placeholder for now. I think it's going to be too big because I'm planning on just having 16 pixels on this. I think those are 24 high, so just for now to get things working animation wise, I brought it in because whatever I draw will have the same amount of frames. Cool, like the concept. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with it. To be honest, I have nicked the idea slightly off somebody I know that did a similar game in a jam. Apart from it was more a point and click like you did, and that was to keep a boat going. But it's a good idea, so I'm going with it. How do the wildcards work? The wildcards are sort of optional extras to the jam. You don't have to do them. They're just there. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, you can add them in. That Styx's game. Yeah, it was Josh, yeah. So, were you here when I said what they actually were, the wildcards, Josh? Because I know they're slightly hidden by the stream avatars. If not, I'll just go over them again. Don't think so, I took out. Right, 1 second. So you've got your main theme, which is ocean. But then you've also got the wild cards, which are optional limitations, just to add a bit more challenge. So the first one is all sounds in game are made with your mouths. So I'm going to do that one. Saying earlier, I'll probably have a stream at some point later in the week where I'm just making stupid noises with my mouth and trying to get and work in the game. So there might be a Godzilla stroke shark noise coming out of me. Fishing business include a fishing mini game, so that's why I've got the guy going to the back of the boat to fish to include like fishing in it. And then this is include a pun, so I'm probably going to do that quite cheaply just by naming the ship something funny. Or maybe even call the game Ship Happens. But no, I think I'll just give the boat some punny ocean going type name. So yeah, it's a pretty good jam that, having those extra things. It just adds a little bit of variety. I'm there. Cool. Right, so let's have a look at getting this animation working. So first of all, we'll do the ones for if the player is on the floor. Actually, I remember why I pass it through. It's because you could only get is on floor after move and slide, I think, can't you? Am I correct in thinking that? I think that's why I pass them through normally. So we'll pass it through like I started doing. Is on floor, and that'll be a bool. And when we call it from what did I call it? Player animations. We'll pass in is on floor. So if is on floor, Solly boy, did you turn the challenges off on your stream earlier? I saw you not fancy doing them and the jam. So if is on floor, if velocity x equals 0. I've just thought this sprite sheet's not got an idle animation on. Let's fix that first, because I'm going to need an idle animation. I'll just reuse a couple of the frames from it, so it shouldn't take me long. I'll add those rails in that we got rid of. We will just it's a really quick and simple dirty animation. Will that have messed up the animations that I had? I don't think it should do. No, that's all still there. Right, so we'll add a new animation, which will be idle. Short animation, loop it. Mess that up somewhere, start again. What am doing here? Sprite. Right, that'll do for now. Back to the script. So, if velocity equals 0, there's another equals in there. And we will set the animation player. Dot play. And we'll play idle. Else if velocity is less than 0, what we'll do, we'll flip the sprite scale so that it's facing the other way. So we'll get the sprite dot scale dot x, and we'll play the walk animation, or run animation I think I called it. And if it's greater than 0, we'll have the sprite scale back to 1. And again, we'll play the run animation in that instance. Right, let's see what that does. Looks like we're still, sorry. Amateur hour here, you see. Right, so what I've just been typing is this lot, but I'm sure you enjoyed Sprite just as much as looking at code. So let's see what that looks like. So left, right, idle, run. So yeah, that's working fine. Thanks for pointing that out, Ollie boy. Surprised I've been talking this long, because normally I switch my mic off and forget I've knocked it off, so I'm doing pretty well so far. Right, so next we need to add in the jump animations. So that'll be if he's not on the floor. So if velocity y is less than 0, so that means we're going up, so then we'll play the jump animation. If we're not on the floor and the velocity is greater than 0, then that means we're falling, so we'll then play the falling animation. So that should now play the jump and fall animations. Alright, I need to change that. If I change direction in the air, I want the player to change direction. Currently I've only got that code in the when it's on the floor. So it should be a case of adding these two. Should be an else if. That should be an if. We don't need to play that animation, just change the scale. You got to be streaming today, Ollie boy. Well, today for you. Tonight for me. So that should now fix that. Yeah, we can now change in the air. Right, I think before I start working on actually adding levels and stuff to the boat, I'm going to maybe work on just one of the hazards and get sort of a hazard working, and then maybe use it as a base class, because they should all be the same. The hazards, they should all just randomly come on and play some animation and have various warning levels. So if I make one, then I can inherit all the other scenes from that. So that's what we'll work on next. So all we're going to need it to be is an area 2D, because all it'll need to do is detect when the player's sort of overlapping it. Maybe we'll see if the mood takes me. I'm not planning it at this point, as I don't want to stream all week, and it kind of prevents Bella from using the lounge. Only a small apartment. Fair enough. I do like your stream sort of in the week, because it fits in well. I can have you on in the background while I'm working. Helps pass the morning. Right, so we've got an area 2D, so that will need a collision shape. This will need a sprite as well, which for now I'll just use that sprite that I'd originally drawn for the player. What shall I call these? Yeah, what can I call them? Broken items. Let's learn from my game. Have a global event manager singleton. Yeah, I do tend to use various singletons. I know in the games, a Space Miner game that I'm working on, I've got a signal manager in there that I register all the signals that I'm making, and then I can just call them and they work. So what can I call it? What are these got to be? They're going to be like perfect. Yeah, it just works really well. I know I saw I think it might have been a GD Quest video on YouTube probably 12 months ago that showed how to do it. So single brain singleton, that's rest to your managers. Yeah, what I do, let's find the Git for my Space Miner game, and I'll show you what I mean, Josh, with how it sort of works in. Might have even explained it the other night in the stream, but registering my signals in one file. This can be accessed from anywhere, so it's a singleton. All I have to do is emit signal, whatever it is, but I have these constants as well. So in this script I'll just put emit signal, signal manager dot shoot laser, and then it calls this signal, and then anything that's listening to this signal then acts on it. Just decouples all the code. It's a really nice sort of patterning Godot. Right, what am I going to call these? Broken. My brain's gone to mush. Okay, gotta go do some chores before I get back into Bio Barracuda. Cheers for dropping by, Ollie boy, and good luck with the game, and I'll catch you on one of your streams at some point this week. I'll call it interactive items. We'll make the base scene that we're going to inherit from. And in there we'll have a textures folder. Quite looking forward to making the sounds. That should be a good laugh, doing them all with my mouth. Right, we'll rename this to move it into here. Right, so we'll save this. Wait a minute. We'll give this a class name, and then we can inherit from this in all the scenes we make. Is that it? Yeah. Why have I done that one? I don't need a tile sheet. It's that I'm meant to be popping on it. So what we will do, first of all, when area entered Right, we'll add this onto that collision layer and we'll just detect for that. I'm going to name those collision layers now so I remember which they are. That can be the player layer. That can be interactive items. So there's one there, the detect player. And the player we will put on so what we'll do, we'll add this so when the area shape gets entered by a body entered, connect that signal up, that'll happen. We'll also want to know when the body exits as well. So those functions will both get called when a body enters or exits. I could add a check-in for whether it's the player that's entered, but I'm going to set the collision layers up so the only body that's going to be in the game is the player. So I don't need to do any of that checking because it's pointless. So there'll be a bool for is player overlapping. I'll set that as false initially. Then what we'll do when the player enters, we'll set that to true. So we'll need to know whether the players are overlapping, and if so, then they'll be able to interact with it, and there'll be some prompt I'll have come up above the item with telling you to press a key to fix it. So is player overlapping equals true. That can be is player overlapping equals false. Right, let's just find. Let's just draw something for just the symbol that will be shown when so something not sure what size to have it, but that'll do for now. Control I've got as fire at the minute, so smaller than that. Think of a small font that I've got. Press start. That's always a handy one. Yeah, none of them fonts going to be any good. Not at this. That'll do for now. Right, let's head that into the game. Find where I've just saved that. I'm not sure where I've saved that. Did I save that in the Godot project? Why have I saved it in a font folder? Why on earth is that saving in there? Right, should be able to find that now. Right, so this is now going to have another call that the actual item. Then we'll add another sprite. Button tip. I'll have this prompt on it. Go back to the script. And process. We'll set the sprite depending, visible or not, depending on button tip, visible, equals so I think that should now just be visible when the player's overlapping. So let's add one of these into this level. And hopefully as the player goes over that, yep, we need to set that to false initially. Why does that not set to? Don't understand why that's not. Why it's visible to begin with. I suppose I can just manually turn it off or what? So it's constantly should be setting it to whatever that value is. The ready function, I'm setting it to false. Showing it there as not being visible. Is there something entering that when the scene starts that's causing? Yes, something is, so I will have to add the check to see if it's the player. Because obviously I presume maybe it's interacting with the floor, because that'll be a static body actually, so yeah, that could be the reason. So we will add the player to a group. And we'll check if body I think it's that. I don't know why it's not auto-completing. I've used this before in my other project, so let's just check what I did differently than that. Let's have a quick Google. Body is in group. Oh. It's right, I've just not put a colon on the end. Amateur hour. And we'll do the same for this one. So I think that should now stop that getting turned on. Yep, that's what I want. What I do want though is the player to be at the rendered above stuff. I think you can add things onto different render layers as well. Not sure where that is. Never used it before, but I know I saw when I was setting the physics layer there was also a render layer, so you must be able to set that somewhere. Right, so we've got the player can move, player can jump. And the player gets the prompt when they go over it. So this scene, it's going to need a few different animations. It's going to need an animation to say it's broken. It's going to need an animation to say it's working. It's going to need an animation saying that the player's fixing it. Maybe that'll just be a sound effect. So I think probably two animations. It's got to need one for when it's just working normally. So say like the engine, it'll need just like an engine functioning, and then when it's broken, maybe smoke coming out of it. Yeah, let's work out how I'm going to do this. Just going to grab a drink and then I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Right, I'm back. What we'll add another bool to this. It's working. Initially we'll set it to be working. So once it's working, is it working now? I think we probably need a game manager that's going to then send a signal to the different items telling them when to break and when not to break. So we'll create a new script. To keep things organised, I'll just stick them in a folder called singletons so I can keep things like the signal manager and game manager and stuff all in the same place. We'll add a new script. We'll call this game manager. We'll also add another script called signal manager. So we've got a signal manager and a game manager. Do we need that to be a signal? Tell you what, I'll give the leveler script as well, because that'll be where I actually do the stuff. We'll add a timer. We'll call it the breakdown timer. That'll be used to timer, and then I'll rename it breakdown timer. And we'll set up a signal that the interactable item listens for. So let's load the signal manager. Should probably got exactly how this is going to work in my head before I started, but we'll make it up as we go along. So we will create a signal. We'll make a signal for each of the interactable items, so we will create one first, as I'm currently planning on making the engine first. And we'll call it change engine state. Sounds as good as anything. give that a constant to use for naming it. Which is a string. And that is equal to that. Means that I don't mess up the spelling anywhere. I can just use that constant to call it. Function. So function change engine state. Yeah, capital S. Yeah. So let's check that this works. Really want to check that I can change this from this script and then work out the intricacies from there. So just at the start of the level we'll set this as an auto start and say after 3 seconds it'll finish. We'll add a signal to that whenever this times out it calls this function in the level script. Get rid of this lot. At which point we want the signal, we have not registered it as a singleton yet. Add that, and we'll add that game manager for later in as well while I remember. To make signal. Let me just check how I do this. Right, so in the interactive scene, in the ready function, I need to connect to the signal. signal manager connect, and we're connecting to the change engine state. It's going to call itself. Function called change state. So whenever we call this, it'll toggle the function. So it'll set is working to not is working. So what I need to do is set up a couple of different animations to visually see this change. So we'll have an animation player. I have no animation at the minute, so I'll just animate the transform or something so we know when it's working and when it's not. Transform. It doesn't have to be anything fancy because it will be getting changed. So that'll do just for now to show it's working. And all we need to do is set it playing here. We don't need to be doing it every time, every game, every frame. If it's working. So that should now connect when we're playing. connected. Timer. Auto start. On timeout. Mix signal. Right, so it's playing the working animation, but that trigger isn't ever happening. Does the timeout ever happen? So first of all, let's see if that ever happens. Yeah, so that bit works. If anyone's interested, the jam that I'm actually doing is the Godot Wild Jam. There's the link for it in chat. If anyone wants to go over what actual game I'm making, just speak up in chat and I'll give you an overview of what I'm planning on making for the jam. See if it gets here, which I'm not so sure it does. Now my signal's never getting there. What am I missing? I'm connecting to it. Look how I've done these before. I'm just comparing just to see what it is that I've done wrong. Signal. Change engine state. First, I can't see any reason why this isn't working. Ah, fool. I know what I'm missing. Right, let's try that one. Yep, there we go. I've missed out to actually tell it was in the signal manager that I was connecting. So it was working, it's not working. It's flip-flopping every 3 seconds because the logic I've got is just that timer keeps going every 3 seconds and changing the state. But at least we've got the link there now, so we know that's working. I think I've pretty much got to the stage now where I'm going to have a sit down and a think as to exactly how I'm going to work this. So I don't think that's going to make terribly interesting viewing. So what I'm going to do is we'll go raid somebody. So let's have a look, see if there's anybody else doing the Godot Jam online at the moment. Let's have a look. Nope, there doesn't look to be anybody else at the minute, so what we'll do, we'll go raid Dunnikin. He's playing Project Zomboid at the minute. Cheers Josh for dropping by. I'm probably planning on streaming as many nights as I can this week, but I'll be working on the gaming among, so hopefully by the next stream I'll have got a little bit more in place, but a couple of hours in I've got some stuff working. So thanks everyone that's dropped by, and especially those that have been the whole stream, really appreciate it. So we shall go raid Dunnikin. Catch you later.